Another video on no knead bread. So I made some bread using plain flour instead of strong bread flour, and I didn't knead it for like 10 minutes, and it worked, and it turned out remarkably well, all things considered. Didn't taste quite as good as the normal bread that I make, which I put down to the plain flour. So I want to have another go, but this time I'm using bread flour. So I've done my usual mix of like a kilo of flour, 600 grams worth of active starter, which is half flour, half water, and then 450 grams worth of water, and then a good pinch of salt. I've split it into thirds, so there's 2/3 in here and there's 1/3 in there. I'm not going to knead that. All I've really done is just mix the ingredients, all the ingredients together in one bowl, and then I've split out. I've left it for an hour just to for all the moisture to thoroughly get into the moisture has to completely saturate the flour to kind of really get into it, and then you can get away with adding more water, which is my understanding of the bread. So I've done that, I've left it for an hour, and then I've taken a third of the mixture and put it in a separate bowl. That's what I'm not going to need, so it's looking a little bit rough, a little bit shaggy at the moment. There, so we'll cover that and we'll just let that ferment, and then when it's doubled in size we'll knock it back. We'll put it in the fridge for 12 hours to slowly ferment, and then we'll shape the dough, and then we'll put it in a proving basket, and we'll give it a few more hours to ferment in the fridge for like maybe 10 hours, something like that. It'll grow a little bit in size, and we'll bake it, but we won't knead it. Whereas these 2/3 of the bread, I'm going to knead that and then do exactly the same process. Ferment it until it's doubled in size, knock it back, stick it in the fridge, covered for 10 hours, 8, 10, 12 hours, something like that, depending on how busy I am, depending on what time of day it is. Take it out, shape it into rounds, put it in a proving basket, and leave it for another 8, 10, 12 hours, and then bake it. And then we'll be able to see the difference between the kneaded bread and the non-kneaded bread, and we'll also be able to taste it. So we'll have a look at if there's a difference aesthetically as opposed to the knead bread and the non-knead bread, and then we'll also be able to have a taste test as well. So if there is a taste difference between the knead bread and the no knead bread, then we'll know that kneading actually improves flavour, and if there's no taste difference, I'll know that the no knead flour that I made with plain flour, it was the reason the bread wasn't just quite as nice was because it was made with plain flour rather than bread flour, and therefore we can kind of deduce that it's the gluten in the flour that makes it taste, that makes the bread taste nice. So you don't need to kind of see all those kind of processes, because I've made bread a load of times and I've done a load of videos on it, doing lots of different things. I've even turned plain flour into bread flour, all that kind of stuff, and kind of shared all the things that I've learned about bread. I fully don't understand about bread, but I know how to get a good loaf. Although I need to kind of add to this that I'm not an expert on making bread. I can make bread and it looks good, but I don't fully know the ins and outs of bread. So consistently, 1 or 2 out of every 3 loaves looks pretty good, but one of them just sometimes doesn't kind of quite work. I don't know enough about bread to know why it doesn't work. I don't need to be told in the comments, because I'm quite happy to find out over time by myself. So we'll be back when I'm shaping the dough, because I think that'll be interesting, and when we're baking the dough, because I think we need to know. Those are the crucial points. So, but anyway, I'm going to knead that for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to let it slowly ferment. So it rose. I knocked it back. It's been in the fridge for 6 or 7 hours, something like that. So let's have a look. They don't look that much different, do they, really? That one's just not as smooth. That's the one that hasn't been kneaded. So, split that in two, roll, or shape it into a dough ball, and then shape this one into a dough ball, and I'll have to keep it separate somehow. But anyway, so that out of the way. You don't need to see me shaping them all. It's pretty straightforward. So we'll see how this turns out. So it's knock it back a little bit, and then yeah, dough's sticky. I can't tell you how not to get it to stick to your hands. It's just something you learn by doing. So shaping the dough by drawing the top of the dough down and tucking it underneath. It smells a bit dirty, not to worry, it's only for me. So we're creating tension in the dough, and that's what's going to give us the spring when we slice it. Spray it with a bit of water and stuff it in the oven. So we'll slice it and we'll get that nice split open, and we do that by creating tension. So in the dough, so the top it's nice and tight is the dough, and it's the explosion of the dough of the cooking process that kind of makes it split open. But we need to create that tension, so it's just a case of, there's different ways of doing it. I do it this way, so it's a twist and a pull down type of thing. So it's like a type of motion, so like that. So you kind of tuck in everything underneath like that. That'll stick together, it'll be fine. So it's just not as smooth as the kneaded dough, but it normally is. But anyway, we'll see what it's like tomorrow. So you get the idea. We're creating tension. So all we've really done so far is save ourselves 10 minutes worth of kneading with this dough. So we'll see if it's worth it. So I'll just pinch that together, and then that into a proving basket like that. A little bit of flour on top, and then it's going to go back into the fridge and it's going to slowly ferment. I use the fridge because it's consistent. So the fridges are normally at a certain temperature, and it's at that temperature regardless if it's summer or if it's winter, or it's autumn, or if it's spring. And generally they tend to have moisture level as well. So it's just a better way of doing it without by improving cabinet. But anyway, so that we'll do the same with the others, and then we'll remember that it's the pink shower cap, because we're cutting down on plastic, is the one that's got the no knead bread in. Already, I'm just doing this, but it's just a quick add-on. I can see that it's smoother and it's tighter to deal with. So this is the kneaded bread, so I can certainly tell that it's got a smoother top to it. So already, and I've only done that a few times, but anyway, so we'll see what it's like tomorrow morning. So this is the no knead, risen quite nicely, and this is the knead bread, kneaded just as wellish. Well, there's probably a slight difference in the weights. No, maybe there's a little bit more in that one. But anyway, so the risen like that. So then we need to cook it in a cast iron pot. Do this quickly, and then put a slice down one side of the bread, which should give us that nice split open. This is the no knead, isn't it? I'm sure it is. Split down one side, get the lid out of the oven, have the lid ready, spray water on one side. If you spray it on the side that you've cut open, what I'll do is it will seal up again, and you won't get a nice split. So in the oven, took full whack, 25 minutes, and we'll see how that one turns out. I'll just bake all three, and then we'll look at all three. But it's 25 minutes in the oven. Pull it out and it's ready. Pretty straightforward. I think the timer stopped working on my oven, so I probably need to clean. The oven needs clean. The oven needs fixing. So let's look at the bread. Oh, look at that! Look at that! A little bit longer. A little bit longer. Another 5 minutes, and we'll see how that turns out. Right. Another 5 minutes. Look at that! That's no knead. That's impressive, isn't it? Right, let's see how these turn out. So same process. Try not to burn their hands with the lid. Slice open. Make sure I get that nick there. And there. Spray on the one side. Lid on. In the oven. 25 minutes. I'll cook that one and I'll cook the other one as well, and then we'll compare all three together. Right, let's talk about the elephant in the room of me over baking some bread. We all make mistakes, eh? But anyway, so that's the no knead, and that's the kneaded. So look at that. Look at the difference in that. Don't ask me. I don't know. But let's have a look inside. So I might not be kneading my bread in future. So this is the kneaded loaf. Very nice. Very nice. And that's the no knead. Explain that to me. Obviously that's a little bit more denser, but obviously because that's risen more. So that's going to be a softer bread, but that's remarkable. That's remarkable. That's just in the shaping. So we get that from the shaping and nothing to do with the what we call it, the kneading the bread to get activating the gluten. I wonder if it's the slow fermentation that makes the difference. Like you couldn't probably do that with a fast-acting yeast. I think maybe that's probably the next experiment to kind of do, to buy some fast-acting yeast and to not knead it and to just shape it and kind of see how we go. Let's cut into this one. It'll probably still be usable, if not a little charred on the outside. Yeah, it's alright, it's fine in the centre. We can do something with that. That'll soften up, put it in the bread bin, that'll soften up. But so it's not wasted, it's just a little bit overcooked. So I'm not going to waste it, I'll do something with it. Yeah, let's cut that off, let it go a little bit stale, and probably cut it into crisp breads and then dry it in the oven. But anyway, so who would have guessed it? No knead bread would turn out better than kneaded. Quite remarkable. Don't need to knead the bread anymore, do I? I was going to do a taste comparison, wasn't I? Because the plain flour bread was a little bit bland. So, how does the no knead? No, I don't want that side. I want this side. No knead. I've been at work. I'm a bit tired. Bread flour. Bread taste. So it's still fresh, but it's just been out for a few hours. So let's just have a taste. Nice and spongy. Alright. No knead feels softer. That's of interest. It's just got a slight bit more flavour to it as the kneaded bread. Or has it? There's not much in it, flavour-wise. There's not much flavour in it. well, flavour difference. There's a little bit of flavour difference, but not much. Not much. So you weigh it up, don't you? There's no need gives you that. You know, which is quite, for me to get that on my kneaded bread, that's quite a rarity, is that. Like maybe 1 out of every 4 gets a nice split on it. You know, like 1 out of every 4. So I'm not 100% sure why. Probably because I taught myself how to do it, and no one kind of, I picked up bits from here and there, and kind of cobbled together how to do sourdough myself. So I would say, depends what you want. If you want a better tasting loaf, slightly better tasting loaf, use bread flour and knead it. If you want a better looking loaf, don't knead it. All depends what. Yeah, but you still have to shape it. I was going to say if you struggled with kneading for 10 minutes, but you still need to shape it. So maybe if you couldn't knead, you couldn't shape. Don't know. But anyway, all very interesting, and will lead somewhere else.